Ready? We're gonna be talking about data. Remember, me don't know nothing about that.
Good.
So you have to break it down for me.
So you have questions you want me to address and.
I have little questions, but based on what you're gonna tell me.
Okay, cool.
Might,
we just want to flow with it.
Yeah.
No problem.
So.
How long is it? How long are we supposed to talk for?
We just talk until we're done, basically.
Okay.
We just have a conversation and
Okay.
we cut off. We just end when we don't have nothing more
Cool.
to talk about.
Cool.
So we don't really have time.
Cool.
So we just go on until we say, alright, we're done.
I'm good with that.
My first name again, Chukwuemeka.
Not bad. I'll work with that.
Add that for true?
Emphasize the A. It's Chukwuemeka.
Oh, Chukwuemeka.
Mm-hmm.
Teach your friend for call you so we can call you so. Alright, let's start. That's rolling so we can start with this.
Why you stay bad? Michael starts step up him thing to keep up with you.
That's all.
And
I don't know why I'm on midlife crisis.
that too.
Alright, ready?
Yep.
Recording. Alright. Hi, my beautiful people. Welcome to another episode of Mindful the Podcast. Now, you all know that October was or is Cyber Security Month, and bringing y'all into the information and bringing y'all into the whole cyber thing for those of you who don't know anything about it. And today I have with me my guest is some sort of cyber guru, I call him.
I'm not going to accept the side part. We'll talk about that.
But guys, today we'll be talking about data privacy and protection. And I have the guru with me actually. Yes, he is. And my guest is no other than Chukwuemeka Cameron. Now, I'll be calling him Chuck. Let's call him Chuck.
We can
because, yeah, that's shorter and that I can remember. All right, guys. So, hi, how are you?
Doing great. Thank you for having me here on your podcast, Big Things.
And I mean, yeah, big things. And I'm happy to have you. But let's get into it. Data privacy, data protection.
Mm-hmm.
What exactly is that?
So, if we agree that we're living in the information age, we don't even know what that is, but everybody say we're living in the information age. And the information age includes doing all our entertainment on the phone, doing our education on the
I don't like where your lines look. Gonna look flat.
because of a base monotone thing. I'm not up here.
No, even so, it just look low.
Okay.
Let me run it back. Let me see what I sound versus. Low.
They pick it up early.
Mm-hmm. Low. So something with you, isn't it? Turn.
I'll try and speak louder as well.
You're not supposed to. Cause the mic is there, so you don't have to shout.
Yeah.
Wait, hold on. Let me record. Alright, go.
Right, I'll try and speak louder as well, but you speak louder than me, so I need to match your pitch. Or it will come across different.
No, it's still low. It's still a little low. I don't know what happened.
You want to exchange mic and see how that go?
Okay. But why it? Can we use the mic there all the time? So I don't know what happening. Everything seems turned up. Everything turned to the. Everything turned on. Chris! I don't know why it under this over the interface. Alright, let's just switch mic and see. I have a phobia, you know.
Oh.
Low. Because a couple of my first podcasts.
Oh, you lost them.
Like, my ball. So me record good. And then when you, because I'm naturally louder.
Yeah.
So then my that time I just had one little
right.
Mic. And it was just a little USB mic that I had. I'm used to put in the center of the table. So becoming naturally louder, you hear me, but like my guests were very low, like
couple?
Low.
Oh.
Yeah. Like my first couple ones. They're just.
So you had to do them over?
No.
Oh, okay.
Me Michael Google and figure out how to.
Oh no, that's it. Fix it.
Yeah.
Right.
But you know them not the same.
Yeah.
Alright, let me test it and see. Mic check 1 2 1 2 2 2. Alright, you go.
Audio check 1 2. Is it any better?
Mm-hmm. You line a little better. So I have a phobia.
No,
although I can turn it up.
That's a healthy phobia.
Let me put this on airplane mode. Before somebody can call me, come and know that always happens. There we go. Alright, so let's start over and then that's us. Ready again?
Yes, please.
Then we start from the top.
Mm-hmm.
Come here, is everything over there. Hi, my beautiful people, and welcome to another episode of Mindful the Podcast. Now, October was Cybersecurity Month. And I am bringing you all into the whole cyber thing, guys. And, you know, giving you the information, sharing as usual. But today, I have with me, my guest is somewhat of a guru in the whole, maybe not cyberspace, but what we'll be talking about today, which is data protection and privacy. And he is the guru in that, guys.
Yes, please.
I give you all the information. So anything me want to know, me tell you and I share it with you, all my listeners. And today I have with me Chukwuemeka
Not bad.
Cameron. And we'll be calling him Chuck, guys, because you don't know me can't pronounce all of that. You don't know me. So Chuck, welcome.
Thank you very much, and thank you for allowing me to be on your podcast. I'm going to definitely increase the number of podcasts I listen to because I did enjoy the ones that I listened to.
You should.
Yes, please.
Well, let's get straight into it. Data privacy and data protection. What exactly is that?
So data protection recognizes that the whole concept of privacy, and for persons to exist in this age that we live in, and when I say this age that we live in, I mean this information age, is critical if we are going to maintain our autonomy, critical if we're going to maintain our independence, critical if we are going to maintain our free will. We very easily, because we do live in a society where, well, Jamaica, coming out of slave society, we have always had a concept of what Babylon is. We have always been able to revolt against something, and we want to mash Babylon down.
Yeah.
And we know what
Babylon system.
Yeah. And we can fight against that visible, tangible thing. In the information age, you don't see Babylon.
Oh, I get you.
So that's why
true.
you don't see Babylon.
Yeah.
And the reality is, New Age Babylon can control much more power over its citizens than ever before. And Europe and the world and Jamaica has recognized that. So we have set up a piece of legislation that that serves as a buffer between Babylon exercising its power, its silent power over us. So that's what data protection, it is really to protect that last right, because information privacy is not a constitutional right.
Oh.
Just
so when I buy something online, when I sign up for something online and I give my information, even when you go into the banks, business places, and I give them all my information, right? That is given over constitutionally, that is given over what you'd say, my information, my right to, me I try to piece it together.
So let me use a scenario that you're painting and contextualize that for you. The danger is with Babylon, and that's going to be recurrent themes. And let me take one step back. So I'm using the term Babylon loosely because we don't even really know what Babylon is. We just know, say, we don't like Babylon. That's all the things said.
And that is, for me, Babylon, anything in authority.
Correct.
Authoritarian, yes.
That's a
So
Babylon.
the government, police,
Correct.
The big man.
Correct. In today's age, it's a big brother, but that's the Babylon we're talking about. And the reason why I'm using that you will hear me referring to Babylon in that context is because constitutional rights, are rules that protect the citizen from Babylon. So while I use the term Babylon loosely, I'm using it in its true sense. Data protection is a rule or a law that protects a citizen from Babylon, because if there was no buffer, anything is anything and anything can happen. So going back to the example that you raised now, you're shopping online or you're going to a bank and I'm asking all of these things. So what does that have to do with my rights to privacy or information? Them must know who I am if they're going to give me my money. I don't want them to give my money to a stranger.
Exactly.
So them better ensure that they validate who I am before them give me my money. So I'm happy with that. That's not unreasonable. The danger is what systems have they put in place to protect all of that data that they are collecting from everybody?
Exactly.
That is it. So let me go back again. I jumped from the past and the history and Babylon, and we're going back to the history side of it. So the concept of privacy as a constitutional right really came out in the 1930s when the German government conducted a census, very similar to the census that we're conducting today. The objective of that census was to, just like our census, to collect data around its citizens to be able to be in a position to determine how to allocate resources and how to plan. However, what did the government do with the information once they collected it? What they did, Hitler identified all the migrants and all the Jews, and that is the information he was able to use to hunt the whole of everybody down and led to what we know today as the Holocaust.
Holocaust, yes.
So coming out of that, Germany and all the European countries trying to understand what were the enablers of this? How could we avoid that from happening again? They realized, no. The man just collected all this information and there was nothing to say he could do this or not do this. And when a government has all of this information, we see where people can lose their lives. We need to protect this personal data. And coming out of that was the origins of the right informational privacy as we know it today. So it's a real thing. And I could bring it back to today. Where did we get this right to where did we get the right to informational privacy in Jamaica? From the NIDS decision.
NIDS, yes.
Yeah, so the government wanted to collect all of this data from us and made it a crime if you did not give us this information.
And that they're going?
Just wait. But it's just like census, if you don't talk up the things, them can prosecute you. Them don't emphasize that part there. What is the law is that's what the law says.
Yeah, but people hide from census taken all the time.
Well, no man, but if them catch you and you don't answer, it's a criminal offense not to answer.
You hear that, people? Because I didn't know that. Una didn't know?
So, and I'm supportive of census.
Yeah.
We live in the information age. Decisions can only be made with empirical, accurate data.
Okay.
But so we need to participate, but I'm just giving you the facts around it. That's all.
But you see, for me, you said something interesting because you said, all right, collecting the data, it was being collected to, make certain decisions on how to allocate things and that sort of thing. For me, that's not bad.
That's necessary.
And for me, who, kind of in a law enforcement, I don't see that as bad either. You know what I mean? But as you said, which hit home a little, because while you're talking, I said, but that's not so bad. Collect all our data so we can know who forget and who not forget and that sort of thing.
And who for lock up and who not for lock up.
Exactly. But as you said, how do we use that data? Who has the right to use that data to do what they want to do also? And that is the part that hit home for me, that, you can't just collect it, what you're going to do with it. And I need to have a say also in what you're going to do with it and how you're going to use it. So I see in the data privacy and the protection now.
Let's go down the road a little more with your example again. Yes, law enforcement may need to collect this data. But who is to say, in any setting, you always have persons that are motivated for the wrong reasons.
Yes.
So who is to say that right now we have people may say that we have a benevolent dictator.
People may say.
But in law enforcement, we are assuming that all law enforcement officers are well-intentioned and they will not use the information that they have access to victimize or carry out any personal vendetta.
True.
Police have never killed another man or another woman over any mix-up. We don't know about that.
Yes.
Okay? But it's the
Yes.
same manner.
Yes.
It's the same manner you can exploit personal data. So the idea around it is to ensure that safeguards are built around the data once it is collected and give you the ability to exercise ownership rights over the data. So it's twofold. It puts constraints on how persons who collect the data can use it, and it gives you the power to oversee and know what they're doing with the data.
I get you. And it makes sense.
Yeah.
I need to know what you're doing with all my information. Because I was reading something and they say in China, they use like the vein patterns and all of that. Biometrics, and they use the vein pattern.
Vein patterns, I never heard that one before.
Yeah, I was reading something and they said they use vein patterns. So when you go to an ATM, you can, I don't know, do something with your vein pattern and it pull out your data. And reading about our NIDS, and people NIDS is National Identification System. Yes, because we have international people listening to my podcast too,
Wow,
you know.
Big up. And again, NIDS is critical if we are going to participate in the digital society. But sorry, I interrupted you. Continue.
And with NIDS, they want, I think I was reading that they wanted to use fingerprint and also eye, retina. So I'm saying, you know, if you collect all this, my blood type, everything about me, yeah, I want to know what you're doing with all of that and how you're going to keep it safe, as you said, from persons, unscrupulous people who might want to use all of that.
So let me bring in the cybersecurity issue now and make the distinction between data protection and cybersecurity. So cybersecurity is really to ensure that no, you don't lose the data. It's always available, and importantly, no outside person can access it or thief it. That's the focus of cybersecurity and information security. Data protection, while that is a very, very, very small part of data protection, because we are more concerned about what controls have you put in place to prevent, as I said, that bad actor inside your organization that's supposed to have access from it. What controls do you put in place to prevent him from abusing that data?
So by controls, is controls, when we talk about control, are they hardware, equipment, or software, or is it laws?
Wow, you do only for reading, so that's a
Me
natural
try understand.
Good. I like it. So what the law speaks to is organizational measures and technical measures.
Okay.
So it's actually both of them, because it's just a measure. You have to look at the situation, and so there's no one size fits all. You really have to look at information and say, okay, do I need to put up a 3-inch thick door to protect all of this personal data in this room? If it's not on the internet, if it's just full of boxes of all that information you're speaking about, how do I, and then do I put a passcode on that door so I can monitor who goes in and who goes out, and only authorized persons can access that information. If the information is on a hard drive, it's the same sort of control they have to put in place. The firewall, the access control, all of those nice things. So those are technical measures.
Okay, so technical.
When we talk about organizational measure, you need policies to identify who really needs to access this information, any at all, be it on the computer or come into the room with a 3-inch thick door.
Okay.
Who needs to come in? Okay, person X needs to come in. Does he understand the responsibility he has, and that he is I'm not going to use a word, a fiduciary for that information? Does he understand that? Has he been trained for him to know, sorry, for him to know that he has that responsibility? And if he does know, if him don't do the work, or if he breaches his responsibility, does HR have a policy that sets out what will happen if he breaches it? So those are the sort of organizational measures. So it's not just I could put in a big door and lock it up tight.
Okay. So that means it's everything combined, and that is what data protection is. The organizational side, the law side, all of that come together makes data protection.
Data protection from a literal perspective, yes, but data protection is about guaranteeing the right to privacy of the individual. How do you guarantee the right to privacy of the individual? You ensure you build out organizational and technical measures to safeguard the data.
Okay.
So I just want to put the focus on the individual.
On the individual.
Because that is what the data
protects. Me,
yes.
Claudine,
yes.
the individual.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So it's law and everything to protect me.
Yes.
Oh, I feel special then.
No, it's yes.
I never know so data protection is about me. It's about me then.
Put it this way, and I feel good like about this. So I'm an attorney. Being an attorney means if you're my client, if you don't hear from, if you try to call me out 3-4 times and you don't get through to me.
Yes.
You know, so you can go general legal counsel and make a complaint.
So I'm gonna complain about your long time.
No, I'm not your lawyer. Because I'm not sure, so there's no complaint to complain about me.
We could have do that like that.
Sure. So, and I can possibly lose my license for not communicating and letting you know what's going on with their matter.
That's true.
So the client is very important in that scenario. It's the same thing with data protection now. Now that I've explained to you that you are important and it's all about you, we have something called the Office of the Information Commissioner.
Oh, we do?
Yes.
Because I had that question in my head that if my information was somehow compromised, how do I get redress? Who me go to? Who me go cause? Who me write to? Who me must sue? We have something like that.
You don't have to go police. You don't have to find no money to go to a lawyer. You go straight to the Office of the Information Commissioner.
You hear that, people? You're learning. Write this down, people.
Office of the Information Commissioner. She has one of the most powerful offices in Jamaica. Why do I say she has one of the most powerful offices in Jamaica? If it is you, go and make a complaint. You know, Madam Commissioner, I don't know. I've been receiving texts from these people, and I'm not sure where they get my number, if they have the number. So I use my first right, and this is a right, the data protection that gives you. It gives you the right to ask, demand from them, hey, give me all the information you have on me.
Ooh.
And they have to do so within 30 days.
Wow.
You don't wait 45 days or 2 months or 3 months. The law says you have to give it respond within 30 days. So you are special. If that doesn't happen, you then go to the Information Commissioner and complain.
So where is this Information Commissioner?
Google her, man.
Oh, which ministry that?
It's not a ministry. It's a
so it's a body that has been set up.
Correct. That's independent and autonomous. Because she has to oversee the government as well. So she can't work with no ministry. She's not answerable to no minister.
You hear that, people?
The ministers are accountable and answerable to her.
Okay.
So if she just get your one complaint, it may be she may not have enough capacity to investigate that one complaint. But suppose she get 10 complaints about that same company.
Yes.
And she now goes and said, hold on. Let me reach out to company X. I've received a number of complaints in relation to your organization, at least 20 people have exercised their data subject access request, right, and you have not replied, please reply to them immediately. And then she follow up with everybody who made the complaint, and them say, them don't get back to me. She said, hold on. What did they say? Nobody don't get back to me. Okay, so she has the right to now go and conduct an investigation. If she goes into your organization and finds that you have not implemented any of the data processing standards,
Yes.
she can tell you, you know what? I'm going to be nice to you. You have 3 months to ensure that you implement all the data processing standards in the legislation. But if you don't, stop processing personal data until you do.
Ooh.
What does that
That's so
sound?
much power.
What does that sound like to you when I say stop processing personal data?
Don't collect my things.
Don't
collect my
it in.
information.
So
Don't use it at all.
So think about, how were you able to organize this podcast today?
Yeah.
How?
Well, my equipment.
Well,
I reached out to you.
How did you reach out to me?
I called.
With what?
Using your telephone
My
number.
personal data.
Yes.
And how you set up studio time?
Yes, that's true. I have to call somebody.
Use them personal
Yes.
data.
I have to go online.
Okay,
And look them up and.
So what that means is, your business. If she tell you don't use anybody personal data, your business done.
Done. Yeah.
As simple as that. And this goes from your company entity to the biggest organization. Data is, we are living in an information age, and that's critical to every business. As simple
So
as
we have
it
them
is.
things there, Jamaica. I didn't know that all of this was going on, because you hear about cyber, you hear about data somehow, and you hear about needs. But I didn't know that things were in place to actually, safeguard.
So that's what the court said. So remember when everybody was pushing back against needs, and them say sign of the beast and rate this, and,
Yes.
and then the opposition went to court and said, it is a breach of our right to privacy for you to compel people to give them data and no safeguards in place. So our court said, you know what? All Jamaicans have a right to informational privacy, and
Yes.
you now have a duty. Well, all Jamaicans have a right to informational privacy, and you cannot process their personal data unless you build out these safeguards. And the safeguards
Would that make sense?
is the Data Protection Act.
Oh.
You just can't collect with things, and
don't
there's no redress, there's nobody to complain to, because we are humans. People will use it for
But
their own.
that make
Yeah.
only sense.
Yeah.
Can't just collect my fingerprint, collect my eye scan, collect my vein pattern, my blood sample,
And when
everything,
you
and
about it,
then
them say talk to the hand.
yeah.
You can't go so.
Or you go somewhere here, you run a back. Go dig it up, run a back if you need it.
No.
No,
It's real.
that could work.
And but that's how today's world operates. If it is, and we as a country need to be mindful. So remember, the Europeans said this coming out of the 1930s. So they don't allow any company to do any business with any country outside of Europe unless they have some control or they are satisfied that the country can safeguard the data. And if not safeguard the data, they can seek redress through a court system.
Mm-hmm.
And you can rely on a law that protects it. So you know that, if that company play around with our personal data, I can guarantee my person in this country whose data it is that, no man, we're good. We can go and sue them, or we can get information commissioner to lock down them business. So it is a risk, but there are measures in place to protect the privacy of the individual.
Good. I never know all of this again.
Seriously.
Because while I'm in my house and I might have alarm system and all of these things, grill lock up, and I'm quite fine, but me, myself out there, my data, the information about me, my personal thing, out there, no lock up, no under no grill, no guard, no alarm, no
order. So I like that.
So I like that Yeah, we say, no man, you have to go put her in a safe, put her in a nice little box, lock her up, and nobody can go in there.
Is bigger than her. Is a constitutional right.
Yeah.
We have a law, so we don't really care who. It's just that we enjoy that right, and even if the government don't, we enjoy the right. So I like the lockup analogy that you raise. I'm going to bring it closer to home. So when you take your child to school, you want to know that it's a safe environment.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
We've had a few unfortunate occasions recently in our schools.
School system, yeah.
And that's really internally. But outside of that, you want to know that because of the society that we live in, they control dangerous devices coming on the school property.
Yes.
You want to know that people just can't run in from off the road, should have a good fence built up.
Yes,
and
exactly.
They have access control. And you want to know that you have adults in place, if not security, to oversee everything in case anything happens. So what happened when we had COVID? Everybody forced to go online.
Yes.
If you could afford it.
Yep. Whether you could or could not, you was forced to go online.
And this is from a school perspective. Okay, what security measures were put in place when you put your child online? Where predators from all over the world could access them. This is the first time the majority of the children ever saw a tablet. True. First time they've ever experienced the internet.
Yep.
So you just put them in this whole wild world, new world.
Yes.
And no protection. But when you go to school, man, make sure you lock the gate.
Yeah,
make sure you have security.
The security is there.
Yeah.
A teacher is there.
And you have fundraising to build wall.
Exactly. Camera put up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So where is the security?
I never thought of it that way.
When the child is online at school by himself.
Yeah.
Where anybody can access him and influence him and say, meet me this or meet me this.
I'm just thinking about that, and I know a lot of us never thought of that, when you go online, when you give your information, a lot of us, we just take it for granted that we get it and we get our business done. This is happening.
No, you don't take it for granted. You don't take it for granted in the brick and mortar, world with your child.
We don't.
With your child, you have told your child or children, don't talk to strangers on the road.
Yeah.
Don't tell nobody where you live. If them ask you, don't talk to them.
Mm-hmm.
Have you told them that on the internet?
No.
Do you know who they're speaking to on the internet?
No. And that's interesting. No, because even with the games that they play, it's not even school. Even the games that they play now. I mean, they're on a server. I hear my son, you go into a server and other people are in the server playing games. Real life
people?
Yeah.
You don't
and he's telling me that his friend is going to be playing this game with him. And I'm like, which friend? And I call every friend I know that, all of his friends I know. And when I call the names, no, it's my friend that play a game. I don't know. He doesn't know. Him just know what you call it, a username or the avatar or that sort of thing. So that's interesting. How do we?
So what happened when them want to play that game in real life? Okay, we're not going to play on the server. Make we meet this so and we're going to play.
Yes, that's true. That's true. Yeah, it hits it home.
Yeah, it's serious.
Home.
It's serious.
It's
It's real. So we are in the information age, and there's a lot of danger, both from a government perspective, a private sector perspective, or a criminal perspective, and there must be controls and a framework in place that could at least attempt to put obligations on individuals, because schools really have an obligation to ensure they have certain data processing standards in place before you start having these online classes.
Yeah.
So while you can never eliminate the risk. There just must be some. So the same way you build up the wall and have a fundraiser, but somebody can jump over the wall in an event
Yes.
or walk through the gate when the security not looking. You do need to put controls to mitigate the risk. So if we first need to acknowledge that is real things and there's a real danger out there.
It is.
And we can be abused.
Real danger.
Yeah.
So I remember I went to a conference in 2019, and
before or after COVID started?
Before. It was
Okay.
before
Okay.
COVID, and long before the COVID started. And I remember we had a data protection bill that was in Parliament. So has that been passed? That has been passed.
Right, that's correct. So it's that same bill that went through the lower house. So first of all, they had consultation around the island for at least, and this was during COVID, for over a year. They invited feedback from all members of the public. So it was passed in the lower house, it was passed in the upper house, and in July 2020, it was assented to by the Governor General, and that is when it became law. It was gazetted in December 2021. And when I say gazetted, it's operational, it's people have to do this. There's a grace period, however, from 2021, a 2-year grace period, and we're now halfway through that grace period, because it does require businesses and the government to think differently first, and then implement, re-engineer how they do business. And there is a cost, and the cost is even the easy part. People get carried away with the cost of doing it, is the amount of time that is required to re-engineer your business that people are not even paying attention to because they can't get over the money part. That's the easy part.
Yes. And I know businesses in Jamaica, they love look at the money part of everything.
But once you realize,
although they're making the money, they look at spending it.
So the question, so there was a forum where I was sitting beside the information commissioner, and the question was asked, how do we afford it? Her question was, how do you afford to pay the fine when I sanction you?
Not true. Yeah.
Which
When I
one?
sanction you. Which one you want?
You want the $2 million or the $20 million, or you want me to lock down your business?
Yeah.
You tell me.
Choose which one you want. Yeah. Lock down your business if you can protect.
Yeah,
me.
That's correct.
Oh.
It's not a free for all.
So it was passed. So I'm way behind.
It's operational. The share office has been set up for the past year, and we get into D-Day very, very fast.
Wow. Me well behind then, man. But update, look about me well behind.
No,
Things.
But you're carrying your listeners along the journey with you.
Exactly, because we are because we did not know all of these things.
Well, you look in company, don't have everybody else.
Well, me never know, but now we know. Now me know, I mean, make everybody else who never know know how it go. So I mean, all right. So businesses and all of that have to now make sure that they safeguard my information, which is fabulous, right? But you have some like sectors. I'm gonna ask about now if there's a challenge with them, because you have the BPOs, the call centers. Are they guided by all of these, rules, regulations? Can Miss Commissioner go in and, because we know sometimes them give a little trouble with information, giving away the information, or some unscrupulous persons.
So scamming
maybe.
is a bad word on your podcast?
No, it's not. No, it's not.
Regulates you?
No, they don't. It means a free for all.
Okay.
But I mean, I know sometimes we have some problems with the call centers, or not the call centers per se, but persons who work in the call center, because they get information. They get people's whether local or international. So are the call centers guided by all of these rules too?
So no man, so I like your very pointed real life questions, and I want to listen back to this just to be guided as to what people think about, because your questions have been very on point. I'm going to give you an example. So, in relation to the scamming thing that you're frightened to talk about.
Yeah.
So the government did put in place a law about 4 or 5 years ago, and it has a very long name. I don't remember the name of the law, but it's called the scamming law.
Yes.
And it basically says if you are caught with a lead list, a lead sheet, it's an offense just to be in a possession of that lead sheet.
Yeah, possession of identity information.
Telephone number, specifically telephone numbers of foreigners and them sort of thing. That's a criminal offense. The Data Protection Act is more far-reaching than that.
Okay.
So scammers don't have to be worried. Businesses need to be worried. The law says that if you are in possession of any personal data and you do not have a lawful basis, it is a criminal offense.
Okay, so you're going to jail for that anyway. We can charge you for that.
So the BPO that's in possession of personal data, if they can't demonstrate a lawful basis, you're in the same position as a scammer. So the answer is yes, all persons that process personal data in Jamaica are governed, BPO or no BPO.
Okay.
And the law is more far-reaching than the scammer law.
Oh, okay. I get you.
Yeah.
You know, the wheels are turning in my head. So, may I try just work it through what's coming up in my head, and so, okay, so you have the unscrupulous people that may be there, the scammers. So the law take care of them.
You okay? Haven't said that word?
Yeah.
No. Okay.
So the law take care of them because
Right.
you have people information.
Yeah.
You're in possession of identity information, right? And then now, but the BPOs, they also have to make sure that their processes, everything are in line with
the
data protection,
data processing standards.
So them might be okay, but then you have the unscrupulous people, the scammer them who just take with things on the periphery.
So the data processing standards, so the 7th data processing standards, that is where they really speak about those technical and organizational measures. So let us think about what technical or organizational measure could be put in place to prevent a scammer taking away the information. Very possible, you can have some sort of data loss prevention policy. So what that means? So let's go back to the analogy with the 3-inch stick door. You have a system in place that monitors or prevents persons from walking out with a box of files.
Yes.
Or you search people when they leave to see them pushing a paper in them pockets because just them have lawful access to the room, but how do you prevent the information from being lost or stolen? Similarly, so in a digital space, you have to implement. There are technical solutions that prevent information from being, and I'm going to use a big word, exfiltrated, stolen or taken out. So one of the basic things of the law is that the law that says that it must be encrypted. All personal data must be encrypted. So while you may be able to see the information within the organization, if you are able to exfiltrate it, you may not be able to see it when you try and use it somewhere else. So you will never 100% secure data, but you must put in all the practical controls to protect it. And when we say practical controls, given your circumstance. So the same thing that the big company have to do is not necessarily the same thing the small company has to do, because it has to be relevant to the amount of data you're processing, the type of data you're processing, the size of your budget, the access to technology that's available. It is very risk driven, and that risk is identified with the nature of your operation.
I like that. So if I start a little business right now, I'm not expect to put in everything that the bigger companies like the banks, that sort of thing.
You don't have as much information as them.
Okay,
you don't have as many workers as them.
Yeah.
So the risk profile is different. So you have to meet the risk that's associated with your operation.
Okay. I like that. And all right. How do I, me, little man, how do I make sure that my information is protected by all of these entities? When I go in at the bank, do I say, lady, make sure say you put my ID or your photocopy, make sure say you wrap it up in a file, and I don't know. How do I make sure say my data is protected?
So I'm going to answer a question after I share with you an example, given the scenario you paint again. So one time I went into a government institution and I had to sign in downstairs. I had to show my ID. Okay, they need it for security purposes. Then I go upstairs and then I have to sign in and show my ID again. This is COVID time, so everybody wearing masks. Then I go inside the office now and then more photocopy my ID. And I say, why you want photocopy my ID for now? I sign in downstairs, I'm in the building. If anything happens, I have a record.
Yes.
If I do anything, there's a record. I just sign in upstairs. Why you want a copy of my photo ID now? So we can know who it is. You didn't even ask me to take down my mask. So how you going to know with me? You never ever asked me to take down my mask. And so I said, I'm done, no. And then I have to call people. And them said, this is the policy. I said, okay, if anybody was interested in security, they would have asked me to take out my mask.
That's true.
To see if it's the same person on the ID that they're looking at. And I said, no. And them consult. And I said, okay, you don't have to do it. So that's the first thing. It must be proportionate and necessary and make sense. And if it is, you can access the service,
Yes.
Because you don't agree with what they have done, you can go to the Information Commissioner.
Oh, okay.
So, your question was, how do you monitor how them use your data? The first right you have as a data subject is you have the right to make a request of them. And that is where you say, 1, tell me all the information you have on me. 2, let me have a copy of it. They have an active duty to tell you what safeguards they have put in place by way of a privacy notice. So as soon as they collect your data, they should issue with something called a privacy notice. It could be a privacy policy, but they need to set out how long they're going to be keeping your data. They need to be telling you who they're sharing your data with. They need to be telling you how you're protecting it. So it's not a question of how do you dig up this information. No, they have a positive duty, an obligation to provide this information for you. And if they don't provide it, they're in breach of the Data Protection Act. They can report them. I'll look for this information. One, them take it. Them never send me nothing. I research everywhere. I don't see it. That's a breach. And if you don't see it, but you really want to know, you have a right to make a data subject access request, and they have to comply with this within 30 days.
Oh, so we can actually go ask
about
right.
From any organization.
I like that. But I have rights, so now I know that. But I have rights.
Yeah, so
when it comes to my data, my information, I have rights.
One of the challenges we have in Jamaica, the only rights we know about is the Fifth Amendment rights. Right to bear arms, and them something there.
Yes.
None of those are Jamaican rights from a constitution,
Yeah.
So you thought they were?
That's true.
Those are US rights because that's how we see on the TV.
We know those are US rights.
Right, but what rights do you know that we have? We have a constitution, we have a charter of rights that are guaranteed by the state. And yes, it's time to understand that we have rights, and this one is a very powerful right, and there's an entire framework built out around it. So the Fifth Amendment, no, that's not we do have the right against self-incrimination, but there's not named no Fifth Amendment, right?
My gosh, really think. I thought there was. I tell you.
We're not a right to bear arms. There's no NRA in Jamaica. Them just send the gun them here for free.
Okay. I understand that. But now I'm understanding a little bit more about, data protection is really protecting me, my information. And for sure say, me have rights, you have to.
That you can enforce.
Yeah.
And you don't need no money for buying a lawyer, to pay for a lawyer, or make no police to report for sit down all day and wait for the police to do something. There is an office set up to treat specifically with this.
And I like that. And I did not know that. But now I know. I'm loving it. So big things are going on in Jamaica.
Yeah.
And we sit down and never know people.
We usually have we have some good structures in place. A big part of it is communication and letting people know they have rights and allowing people to exercise their rights, because if we sit down upon them and don't use them, them get asked, so why do we need to have this office? Nobody uses this office. So they will have the office, but it will be downsized because there's no only power. Nobody not trying to defend them rights. So we do have those rights that we need to exercise.
So you hear people, and you're hearing it on Mindful the podcast. I tell you, I share the information all the time.
No man, so I've been doing a lot of awareness and public presentations and training, but I like this one. I think is a greatest insight I think I've been able to share. So no man, you guys hearing it first for the right here. No man.
Right here, sir. I empower the people. So now they know that I have rights when they come to the data, with the information. Alright? So, remember fast with you now.
Yes, please.
Chuck. How did you get into all of this?
Oh, okay. So no man, that was easy for me. So I've been practicing as an attorney for the past 23 years.
Yes. From
23 years ago, I realized that we were living in the biggest revolution of all time, and that was the information age. That's long before Facebook. That's long before ADSL. That's when we just started to get dial-up. You know about dial-up?
Yeah, man, you have to age me, but I know about dial-up.
Right. So
only for people that don't know what is dial-up, but we know dial-up.
I never know say it was. Sorry. Right. So I realized as a young attorney, so I had a friend in Canada, and I went to check him, and he started hosting websites, and the internet service provider, internet went down, and him never know what to do. Because he was selling a service to people, but the internet that he was relying on just popped down. What was it? So I realized that this information age is real, and this is where the future is. So that's 23 years ago. But moving forward, I have always been passionate about the rule of law and rights, and ensuring that we can defend our rights. I can't be a lawyer and say there's no remedy for a problem that we have. So I've always been passionate about that. And when you put 2 and 2 together, so I did a master's in 1995 in relation to information technology and management in Holland, and a big part of it was the data, the precursor to the GDPR. So they had passed a piece of legislation in 1995 that was a precursor to the GDPR, and that's a European data protection law, the GDPR. Okay, so a long time data protection are going in Europe side. Correct. Well, remember from the 1930s, where it come from. So I realized that we don't even realize we have a problem. The same thing that has started the conversation with the Babylon. Yes. And we're not understanding, say, Babylon isn't that brick and mortar thing where you can fight against anymore. True. So when I came back from my master's, I actually started a non-profit organization named Uncharted Rights. Because at that time, you did not have a right to informational privacy. So the objective of that organization was to lobby that we do have a constitutional right to informational privacy.
Yeah.
That was a little premature because it didn't get much traction. So I can't even.
Because I guess at that time the information age in Jamaica, we are a little behind.
Yeah, we just get
so we just catch up. Yeah.
And we want to enjoy Facebook. Don't tell about protect with data. Yo,
high five.
We want to link up with my people them and this. What's the problem?
Exactly.
So coming out of that situation, and in married to my law practice, I have taken out several constitutional motions for privacy, even outside of data protection, because that is where the greatest injustice is done, when they abuse your privacy.
Yes.
And when they take it from you. If police were to stop you today and take your phone, and hopefully that's the only way they can get the information on your phone. Let's assume that's the only way they can get the information on your phone. When they stop and if they were to take your phone, what would they be exposed to? Not your entire life, all the intimate moments, all the private moments, all the moments that represent you, and you'd be embarrassed. So you may not be the type to film yourself engaging in certain marital activities. But there, you have a lot of
pictures,
private messages and
your messages and all of that is on it.
So it wasn't hard for me to move from defending privacy rights in a brick and mortar and married with my affinity for technology in the information age. So as soon as I realized that they had set up this select committee to look at it, I did something that was very risky. I said, okay, I'm going to stop practicing private law and focus on this alone. When a bill is in select committee, it almost come a law.
Well,
I've had many sit there and die there up to today. So this is a sweet spot for me because there are not many people that have a solid understanding of the law and solid understanding of information technology and insight into cybersecurity. So I saw it as a great opportunity to leverage all my skill sets and make a difference and fight that invisible Babylon.
And that was my next question. Like, do you have to be a lawyer? Do you have to be in IT to, do something in data protection?
So the big commercial opportunity is to become a data protection officer because the law says that all government entities must have a data protection officer. Okay. All companies that process a lot of personal data must have a data protection officer.
Oh, so we can get a big work?
Easily. Oh. Because they're in short demand across the world. So you could get a big work nearly anywhere.
Oh.
How long have I been trying to tell you this?
So we can get a big work.
You never hear that from somebody close to you?
Only for time.
Easily.
Because someone needs to be a lawyer. To know
okay, so the reason why I said about DPO IT is because the law says to be a DPO, you just have to it must be a suitably qualified person that's independent. That's it. The reality is you will not find anybody with those, as I think I sit in a unique position. You must just have an aptitude. It would be good if you have a background in one of them.
Okay.
And then you must have an aptitude for the others because it's brand new, cutting edge, and you just have to be a lifelong learner and have an aptitude to do it.
So how will I learn more about data protection, data privacy?
So
are there classes, books?
So we've recognized.
What am I going to learn so we can get a big work?
So we've recognized that we don't have trained data protection officers, and there is right now a foreign provider that teaches the American version of the GDPR
Okay.
and it doesn't fully align with the GDPR and our law. Is fashioned off of the General Data Protection Regulation, and that's the European Data Protection Act. And there are some specific distinctions, especially how they view that data protection officer, because their school of thought thinks that would say that a data protection officer is a whistleblower. And when I say a whistleblower, part of the role of the data protection officer is to ensure the company implements the data processing standards and be that liaison between the data subject and the officer, the information commissioner. When it comes to the whistleblower, it is a data controller that the law says must report himself to the officer, the information commissioner, if there's a data breach.
What?
Not the data protection officer. So the head of the organization must within 72 hours report that Houston, we have had a breach.
Okay.
What the DPO has a responsibility to do under the law is, if once that breach has been identified, he must find out, okay, so when you're going to get this fixed, and if you don't fix it and you go back to them and say, yo, you don't fix it yet, that is when he needs to escalate it to the Office of Information Commissioner. But it is a company that has that duty to report himself. So going back to your question, realizing that you don't have data protection officers waiting to take up these jobs. We have partnered with Mona School of Business to offer a DPO certificate course, and that will be starting in November. A 6-week program that we'll be able to leverage all the experience that we have garnered over the past years and our certifications and expertise. In addition to that, we're making available an e-learning experience for companies who want to get their staff trained. Not even want to get. The law says that your staff, yes,
they have to be trained.
Correct. So we are creating those opportunities because it is a green field. And you can get to work anywhere. Big work.
So people, you see, we're always talking about side hustles.
No, this is
and what you can do. It's not a side hustle, I know. But instead of the side hustle, we always talk about me giving a big work. It's like me steering in another direction.
Anywhere in South America, anywhere in Jamaica.
Okay.
In the Caribbean, in Barbados or Cayman.
So if you're anywhere in Jamaica and in the Caribbean, Mona School of Business, they're gonna start a certificate course in November. So people, look into it. Listen to this podcast, look up research, data protection and privacy, and head to Mona School of Business.
At least 2 people are going to take you serious and follow it, and I'm going to make a big money, and you need to get a piece of that if you're not going to do it yourself.
People, yes. Follow me then. Follow me, go Mona School of Business. We could go inquire about all of this because it's a big work thing. You hear that? There's not enough data protection officers
in the world.
So
Europe just implemented their GDPR in 2018. So, and when you take away COVID, that's yesterday.
Yes.
And they have a need for data protection officers as well. So it's not even to say you can find DPOs, but they need DPOs. That Indonesia just passed their law last month. Just remember I was telling you about how if you want the business with Europe, you need to establish similar laws. So it is spreading fast and furious across the world there. You can get a DPO working anywhere.
Wow, so people be on it. Because I know some people, wondering what next to do in life.
And it's not a 2-year ideas. It's not a 2-year diploma or degree program. Learn the basics, and then get some good experience in.
There we go. And there's things all over the internet and stuff that you can.
A lot of GDPR type information out there.
Yeah, and you can always hit up Chuck, and he can talk to you more about. Data protection and how you become a DPO.
Start with reading the Data Protection Act. Everything flows from that. It's very, very, very difficult to read. I'm not going to lie. I found it very, very difficult to read.
Yes.
But that is where.
Are you a lawyer?
Yeah. Very, very difficult. But that is where everything is.
So we read it, guys. We're gonna be reading it. And we're gonna highlight, and then we can bring back Chuck so that he can explain things to it. Yeah.
Yes,
or when we reach a Mona School of Business and the certification course, we can carry all our questions and everything, and we can ask them. Not true?
Yes, please.
So guys, ideas. I'm always giving all the ideas, big work. Ding, 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 ding.
To start sensitizing yourself.
Yes.
And leveraging your platform. So a big part of what I've done over the past 2 years is really sensitization.
Yes.
Both for
which is important.
And individuals. So I've written a number of articles that are in normal, plain language. I hope you found that I wasn't too technical or highfalutin.
Some of them.
No, me. I'm saying hoping I wasn't too technical.
No.
Today, so I've sought to.
No, today you carry it right down to layman. You carry it down to Claudine level.
So some of the articles are like that. It depends on who the audience is. So,
yes.
So if you can find that name, the Chukwuemeka. So let me spell it for them. The CHUKWUEMEKA Cameron on LinkedIn. You would see a lot of all the articles that address issues that you're faced with every day.
Okay.
So there was a statin. I just finished writing an article on statin. Did you saw that one?
I saw that. Yes.
Yeah.
And guys, I will put all of the information, all of Chuck's information and the links in the show notes. So you can look in the show notes and everything will be there. All the information will be there.
Yeah. So because statin, I was asking him, statin got the memo that there is a data protection act.
Exactly. I did see it, and guys, it's a good read. So you guys, I'll put the link in the show notes to take you right to the articles and to Chuck's contact and all of that. Yeah. So now that we know that data protection is a big thing in Jamaica also, and I'm glad that we're catching up with the rest of the world. Because I'm years behind, but now you draw me in a little bit. I'm back to 2022.
So Jamaica, outside of Cayman, I'd want to say Jamaica is the most advanced in the region in relation to data protection. Yes, Barbados did pass their legislation about 6 months before us, but their process has slowed up for different reasons. So apart from Cayman, and remember they are in the outsourced industry, the financial outsourced industry, so they have greater impetus to sort out their thing. But we're very, very advanced in the region now.
Okay. So is there anything else that we should know about data protection? Or have we covered?
We just touched. We haven't spoken.
We just touched the basics, but layman, anything else we must know? Because now me know I have rights.
So that's
now me know I can go to the Miss Commissioner.
Correct.
And if I have any need for redress, anything, if I have any concerns at all, I know I can go somewhere. Now I know that if I go to any business place, any government place, and I have some doubts, that I can request my information to see my information. I can request to know how you're going to use my information and that sort of thing. So I know that there are processes, laws, everything now that when it comes on to my data information and all of that, I never know all these things.
There's nothing else I want to add. That's a lot of information, and I need a copy of this because, as I said, I think you're able to convey a lot of the basic important things that we need to know.
Good.
So no, there's nothing else I want to share right now.
And it's a lot, guys. Yeah. It was a lot to take in, and I hope you understood, just like how me understand. I'm gonna try to ask a question them food, for try I'm gonna understand it. So I hope you did understand what data protection. I hope you get a little idea now what data protection and data privacy is all about. And me will put my little notes in the show notes. I like school, me a school, So all of that will be in the show notes. Just like a summary, so that you have it Guys, when I walk around, I go on like, we don't know nothing, you know. We know now. And we know that we have rights when it comes to our data. Thank you so much, Chuck.
My pleasure. Well
Thanks
done.
for informing us, you know, and bringing us up to speed on all of this data thing.
I want to listen to this podcast now.
Yeah, and you will. Join the gang. You know, I want like a gang. Join the gang now.
You
So
can find
thank
another word
you.
for them.
Join my beautiful people,
Right,
my
thank
listeners. Yeah, we're not gonna like Babylon. We don't want Babylon system draw it down.
Yeah.
So yes, my beautiful listeners.
Yeah.
You know. So thank you so much again for coming on to this podcast and just sharing with us, sharing the information. And I mean, I learned a whole lot today, and I hope my listeners have also learned a lot and understood what you said. And I love that you break it down for it. Yeah, I love simple things. Simple, and it was simple. So thank you so much again. And guys, remember everything, Chuck's contact, everything will be in the show notes. And I'm going to do a little summary of what I learned. So all of that will be in the show notes. So we're good. Nobody can. And remember, big work out there. We are going to school of business. Come with me, guys. Come with me. So thank you. And until another episode.
So when is the next episode before you sign off, please? How often you put it out there?
I try to put out two episodes per month. It can be more, but
that's a bit.
2 a month.
Well done.
So maybe by the time this one comes out, it will be November. But yeah, it will definitely be there. So see you guys. Yay.
Finish?
Yeah. 1 hour something.
Yeah, man.
So we're good. Thank you.
Great stuff.
Some learn Wally, man. Never
This
know
is
them
what
things they're
Michael was
going.
telling you about.
Yeah, from long time. But no, I cannot have a little understanding. I mean, when they go to one like a conference, and you hear about the data protection and all of that. But at the time, the bill wasn't there.
Right.
So, I mean, what the guy name? Always everywhere. Trevor Forrest. So, him come and him talk about the bill and the challenges and what places need to do and all of that. And then, is always a commissioner, Henley?
No, man. Cedar Barkley.
Oh, okay. Because at the time, Henley she was in information.
She's still in it. She's one of my competitors and the closest person who understand the thing on a legal and technical level. Mm-hmm. They either have lawyers who try to understand our technical people.
And she's technical. I think she's technical.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
She did go all over, go study and and they were back and forth saying why you should have, why you shouldn't have, you must have this, you must have that, and the whole debate around everything. But I mean, never know said the bill did pass and all of that. Because nobody never put out nothing say. You know what I mean?
No, there was. Well, she hasn't launched a awareness campaign yet, and that's a difficulty. So stop record over this,
Oh yeah.